Is it Tuesday already? Wow. Wow. We're talking today about Ahsoka Season 2, a little bit. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And Anakin Skywalker showing up because Hayden Christensen was just at MegaCon last night, or over the weekend, I should say. And he was talking all sorts of stuff about Star Wars. Now, we also have some news about Asajj Ventress being in The Bad Batch Season 3, and that might just be the beginning of Asajj's return to Star Wars, as the voice actress for the role confirmed this. We got a lot to talk about today, so let's dive into all of it. What's up, guys? It's Mike, the guy who loves Star Wars. So, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. From Ahsoka Season 2 to The Bad Batch Season 3 to the Andor Season 2 to all this stuff. We got a lot to talk about today on this fine Tuesday afternoon. But how are you doing today? How's everybody in the chat doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? How we doing, chat? We're going to talk about Anakin Skywalker possibly being in Ahsoka Season 2. I shouldn't say 100% confirmed, but we're going to talk about it because over the weekend, there was MegaCon. And tell me in the chat if you've been to MegaCon or did you go to MegaCon this year. But it's in Orlando. It's a big con. And a lot of Star Wars familiar faces were there. The two big ones, of course, being Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. And they both had panels, and they both talked a lot of Star Wars. But Hayden Christensen specifically talked about Ahsoka, his time with Ahsoka, and his time with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And he praised Dave Filoni a whole lot. But he talked about the Ahsoka show and how great it was to work there. And he also kind of teased that he wants to continue to work on Star Wars a little bit. So we'll talk about that quite a bit today, and whether or not we think that this is actually going to happen. What the hell? The audio streams. What is this talking about here? I don't care. Okay, whatever. Moving on. So let's start up a poll right away to see if you guys think we will see more Anakin Skywalker in the Ahsoka show. Do you think that Anakin Skywalker will be in Ahsoka Season 2? You tell me yes or no. Do you think Anakin Skywalker will be in Season 2 of the Ahsoka series? That's a great question, too. It's me, what's up, says, do you think that Anakin will be in Dave's movie? We'll get to that in just a second here. What's up, Skywalker Academy? What's up, Maggie? How we doing? How's everybody doing today? All right. So, first, let's Taco Tuesday? Yeah, definitely Taco Tuesday, for sure. Yeah. Let's answer this question. Do you think that Anakin will show up in... Okay, whatever. Screw that. In Dave Filoni's movie. I think it's definitely possible, but I doubt it. I think maybe in some sort of Force Ghost. I appreciate the hearts, too. In some sort of Force Ghost at the end of the movie, but I doubt it. I don't think he's that important to the story, especially in Dave Filoni's upcoming movie. So I really don't think so. But with that being said, it's definitely possible. I think it's more likely that Anakin will show up in Season 2 of Ahsoka. I definitely do. So, yeah. All right, so let's just take a little gander here. We can take a look at this first. Let's do this first. Let's take a look at this first. This is This is coming from Screen Rant, okay? And this is what they have to say. They say Ahsoka Season 2 needs to avoid bringing back Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker again. And here's why. So this is what they have to say about this. We're going to read this article, and we're going to see if we still think that Anakin should show up in Ahsoka Season 2, because I certainly think that he should. We're on Peridia. We're in the time. We just saw his Force Ghost at the end of Season 1. And I think, now that Ahsoka claims that that's where they're supposed to be at the end of this season, I think that's where we'll see some more Anakin, but this is what Screen Rant has to say. So let's read this article up real quick. Oh, I got to... You guys can't see the article. Wouldn't that be helpful? Okay. This is much better. Okay. First of all, It's Me says, I heard that in the Taika Waititi movie and the Sean Levy movie, and wait, I heard, there is a Taika Waititi movie and a Sean Levy movie, but I feel like there will be more Ben Solo in the future. Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about Ben Solo being involved in Sean Levy's movie because Adam Driver is friends with Sean Levy, but that's kind of just a whatever type thing. See what's up says, yo. All right, let's dive into this article right away. So this is what Screen Rant has to say. Ahsoka Season 2 needs to avoid bringing Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker back again. And here's why. Ahsoka Season 2 is officially in development, but there is a question as of whether Hayden Christensen will be returning to Star Wars as Anakin Skywalker. And there's an argument to be made that he shouldn't. Hayden Christensen took over the role of Anakin Skywalker from Jake Lloyd in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and continued to portray the character in the final installment of the prequel era with Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Christensen's portrayal of Anakin was highly criticized when the films premiered, with audiences citing bad dialogue delivery and Anakin's whining as their biggest issues, which, I mean, he's created to be a whiny character for a reason. It's the same thing like Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. But that's just people being dumb. So, these feelings would change over the course of the next 15 years, with the films being viewed positively now. Way more positively now in the Star Wars fandom. I mean, even in not the Star Wars fandom, in the casual world of living. Even though Hayden Christensen essentially disappeared from Hollywood following the release of the Star Wars prequels, he returned to the franchise for the 2022 Disney Plus limited series, The Obi-Wan Kenobi Show, because we talked about a possible second season of that over the weekend. It's still considered to be a limited series for now. For now. Yeah. Most recently, in 2023, Christensen reprised his role as Anakin Skywalker in Ahsoka Season 1. Anakin appeared to Ahsoka Tano in The World Between Worlds, and then again as a Force ghost in the finale of the show. Now, it's possible that he can return in Ahsoka Season 2, but it may not be the best choice. Now, why? So this is, of course, Hayden in Ahsoka. Guys, like, come on. This is probably like come on. Just think back to how hyped that was. Okay. When Anakin Skywalker first appeared to Ahsoka, he said he was there to finish her training. Throughout Ahsoka's time in The World Between Worlds, she was forced to confront her past, in particular, her fear about her past bleeding into her present. She thought because she was trained by Anakin Skywalker, she was going to turn out the same way that Anakin did as well. Ahsoka was so afraid of her legacy becoming something terrible and dark that she let it cloud her judgment, and of course that's why she stopped training Sabine in the first place, and that's why she sort of was a lonesome loser throughout the original trilogy. Anakin was able to show her different key points in her life as we got the flashbacks to the Clone Wars. Early battles during the Clone Wars, as well as the Siege of Mandalore, which was the last battle of the Clone Wars, having her experience them again to get his point across. When Ahsoka said that she chooses to live, she finished Anakin's training, meaning they were done. What's up, Fearless? What's up, Austin? How we doing? This was also demonstrated through Ahsoka's transformation into Ahsoka the White. And let me reiterate, okay? Because I got a lot of backlash back when Ahsoka was being released for this, and I need to clear the air. The end of Rebels was retconned. When I made that video about the end of Rebels being retconned after episode, I think, 2 of Ahsoka, I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of shit for that, okay? And it wasn't very nice, I must say, because I was right. Did I ever get anybody say, oh, Mike, you were right? No. Did I need that? Maybe. But it was retconned, because Ahsoka the White doesn't appear until episode 5, after the exact scene that we see at the end of Star Wars Rebels already happened. Yeah. Okay, back to the article. just had to get that out there. Okay. This was also demonstrated as she transformed to Ahsoka the White. Ahsoka is wise enough to learn from Anakin's mistakes and is walking out the other side a better Jedi because of it. If Anakin truly only appeared to Ahsoka in Episode 5 to finish her training, then his mission is complete. Anakin's appearance in the Ahsoka Season 1 finale is simply him watching over his Padawan with pride, not an indication that Ahsoka and Anakin's stories aren't over yet. So what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about this just purely that? We'll get to the next part. What do you guys think about this from purely that alone? Anakin at the end of Ahsoka was only there to prove that he was looking over his Padawan as a Force Ghost. Now, I've been mentioning this since the finale dropped, that Ahsoka's not looking at Anakin in that finale. You go back and watch that scene again, she's looking all around. She's like, ooh. Like, she doesn't actually look at Anakin as a Force Ghost. Sabine only senses him, so she doesn't see him either, and Ahsoka doesn't see him at all. So us seeing him as a Force Ghost doesn't necessarily mean that he's there. That just might be Dave Filoni or whomever showing us that he is present. But Ahsoka doesn't see him, and neither does Sabine. So it's just sort of Anakin looking over him, over her. But does that mean that we'll see him in Season 2? Let's keep reading. Star Wars risks devaluing Anakin Skywalker's appearances. Well, having Hayden Christensen return to Star Wars in Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka was amazing and showcased some of Hayden Christensen's best acting. That's an understatement. What's up, Rose? Lucasfilm needs to be careful moving forward. While Anakin is an iconic character and plays a larger role in the franchise, they risk devaluing his character each time he appears in different projects. Ahsoka creator Dave Filoni would be wise to not feature or barely feature Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker in Ahsoka Season 2. Having Anakin constantly appear in different Star Wars titles means that the new appearance is less special. Interesting. What's up, Maggie? So these are Hayden Christensen's recent appearances, of course, in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But then he got a voice cameo in 2019 in Rise of Skywalker. He, of course, was Vader in Kenobi, and the flashbacks he was Anakin. And then he was in Ahsoka, as we just talked about. With such hard work and storytelling that has been put into Anakin's character, it seems foolish to diminish his legacy as the Chosen One. Anakin was able to bring balance to the galaxy, and that prophecy was fulfilled, meaning that anything that takes place in the New Republic era and beyond runs the risk of just further complicating matters. We've talked about this before, the sequel trilogy and how that sort of takes away from Anakin being the Chosen One, Anakin's legacy being fulfilled. And this might be doing the same thing. Well, Anakin's appearance in Ahsoka was epic. That's without saying. Especially when audiences got visuals alluding to Darth Vader. It now raises the question of whether Anakin is aligned with the dark side of the light side of the Force, or has balance between two of the alter egos. We've talked about this before too, him possibly being the father and having control of both the dark side and the light. Star Wars may be falling into old habits from Legends, which Disney got rid of in 2012 or 2015 or something. One of the major issues from Star Wars Legends was that Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, and Han Solo would just show up towards the end of a novel to fix whatever problem was happening. This happens all the time. There's so many Legends novels, and this happens all the time. Like when people talk about Legends, they usually talk about the Heir to the Empire trilogy or the Shadow, the Dark Empire, or just a bunch of Old Republic stuff or Dawn of the Jedi stuff. But when it comes to actual Legends material, there are thousands upon thousands of books that people don't really talk about too much. So they don't really remember that Luke, Leia, and Han were just thrown in there all that they wanted to come save the day. And that completely took away from the characters themselves. This made these characters overused and devalued in their appearances. While it was something to entice readers to pick up a Legends book at first, audiences became accustomed to this happening, and it became the normal. This is definitely not what we want to happen with Anakin Skywalker. If the normal is him just showing up and everything, we've gone wrong somewhere. When Legends was deemed no longer a part of the Star Wars canon, it eliminated a lot of those concerns of overusing the three main characters from the original trilogy. And the sequel trilogy took these three characters and didn't really use them at all. While bringing Anakin into Ahsoka Season 1 was a brilliant idea by Dave Filoni, Star Wars risks Anakin having the same fate as Luke, Leia, and Han did in Legends. If Star Wars continues to have Anakin Skywalker appear in different projects, he will oversaturate the content that they are putting out and therefore devalue his appearances. With such an important and iconic character, Anakin deserves better than that. While it would be amazing for audiences to get to see Anakin once again in Ahsoka Season 2, his appearance isn't necessary. Necessary? Sure. And risks hurting his legacy. Let's talk about this a little bit, okay? Is Anakin showing up in Ahsoka Season 2 as a Force Ghost to Ahsoka, and maybe even Sabine, oversaturating or overusing or devaluing the character of Anakin Skywalker? What do you guys think about that? My take on this is yes and no. Him showing up in Ahsoka Season 2 is a place where you would expect Anakin to show up. After you just saw him as a Force Ghost on Peridia, at least the audience did. Ahsoka might not have, but we, the audience, did. And of course, Mortis God statues on Peridia, the possibility of seeing Abeloth on Peridia. There is a very strong Force connection with the planet of Peridia. Some planets in Star Wars have stronger bonds with the Force. You have planets like Ilum with all the Kyber crystals and stuff. And then you have planets like Tython, where the Jedi originated from, and Dagobah, where Yoda goes to hide from the Sith. Then you have like Exegol, it's a Sith planet. You have planets that are more strong with the Force, and I think Peridia is definitely one of them. So having Anakin show up in Ahsoka would make sense. Having Anakin show up in something like Dave Filoni's movie, for example, like It's Me said at the beginning of the stream, it would make less sense, and maybe that would be devaluing or oversaturating Anakin's character. Anakin is the chosen one. He just is. Even in the sequel trilogy, if he's not, he still is. But him showing up in every single project because he's the chosen one doesn't necessarily mean that it makes it a good story. It has to be something that continues the story and provides explanation to the story at hand. Look at the Ahsoka show as the perfect example. Dave Filoni only brought in Anakin because Anakin's so important to the character of Ahsoka. Ahsoka is the name of the fucking show. So it was her, and her going through one of the most important lessons of her life was through that World Between Worlds sequence. After she's completely neglected Sabine for so many years, she's now found out that Thrawn's still alive, that Ezra's possibly still alive. She's just lost to Baylan Skoll, who's a Sith, who's back, like the Sith are back after Palpatine's gone. Kind of. He's not really a Sith, but he's a dark side user with a red lightsaber. So she just lost to him, and she's very worried about turning into to Anakin, falling to the dark side and becoming what he became. And that scares her. So the final lesson in that Ahsoka episode 5, the Shadow Warrior episode, is so important, absolutely so important to the character of Ahsoka Tano that it needed to happen. Anakin needed to show up in the Ahsoka series. And it makes sense that he's there. And it doesn't take away from the story that he's there. Anakin showing up on the screen doesn't just make it the Anakin show. He's only in one episode, or I guess he's in two, but he's only really there for a couple seconds in the other one. So he's only in one episode. So it doesn't take away from the whole plot of the story. Although he was really cool to see. It's very similar with Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker comes in and saves the day at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2. It's very similar to what the Legends just said there. But that was also built up the entire season. Grogu sits on the Seeing Stone, calls out to a Jedi. We don't know who the Jedi is. Ahsoka tells him to go find a Jedi, but there's so few of them left in the galaxy. And then, of course, one X-Wing flies in. And they're like, what's one X-Wing going to do against this whole army of Dark Troopers? And, of course, Luke saves the day. But Luke's only in one episode. Same thing with Book of Boba Fett. He's only in one episode. So they're using these characters, these legacy characters, to their own advantage, while also not oversaturating or diluting the characters too much. But the question at hand is, if Anakin shows up in Ahsoka Season 2, or even Dave Filoni's movie, is that too much Anakin? Is that purposeful, or is that just because? Let's see what you guys are talking about. Let's see what the chat's saying. What's up, Melvin? What's up, Melvin? How we doing? What's up, Cole? What's up, Liam Neeson? We got Liam Neeson in the chat. Freak Zeke, what's up? John, how we doing? All right, let's scroll back up here. See what you guys are talking about. Anthony, what's up? Says, Mike, more Anakin can only be a good thing. Interesting. My vision is Anakin will split his time between Peridia as a Force Ghost and the known galaxy as a Force Ghost. His ability as the new father will enable him to appear in his true form with Luke within the world between worlds, further training his son in the Force, and on occasion to Jason Syndulla. See, now that sounds like a lot of oversaturation of the character of Anakin. If he's showing up to Luke, Ahsoka, Jason Syndulla, like he has no relation to Jason. Why would he show up to Jason? I would like to see him show up to Luke, but I don't know if that's even possible. As Maggie says, too much Anakin? Never. But there could be too much Anakin if you throw him in everything. Freak Zeke says, is this an early stream or am I just late this time? No, we've been going on Tuesdays and Thursdays earlier. On Saturdays, we're usually like the 4 or 6 p.m., but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're usually at this 2 p.m. slot. Yeah, at least until further notice. Austin Snow says, I can't wait until Ahsoka Season 2. Did you see the Mandalorian and Grogu teaser? There is not a Mandalorian and Grogu teaser. I know that for a fact. I don't even have to check. It was probably a fan-made one. What's up, Fearless? How we doing? Anthony follows up and says, I think Anakin knows that Jason Syndulla is a Force, has unique Force abilities, and he will employ the kid as a messenger for Anakin's plans to protect the galaxy and the new Jedi. Again, I don't think so. I don't think Jason Syndulla has any connection to Anakin Skywalker at all. And Anakin has no idea who the fuck Jason Syndulla is, the child of Kanan Jarrus and Hera Syndulla. Who dat? Yeah. What's up, Rose? What's up, Maggie? I love the idea for Sabine being a Jedi. Me too, Austin, but a lot of fans would actually disagree with you with that one. A lot of fans. Fearless says, it's true. If he appeared too much, it devalues it. I totally agree. Showing him in doses like with Vader. That is true. We've gotten a lot of Vader since Disney has taken over in the time period between the prequels and the original trilogy. And it doesn't seem like they're diluting it or giving us too much of Vader. But he's in almost everything. He's in Rogue One. He's in Jedi Survivor. He's in Jedi Fallen Order. He's in Kenobi. He's in comics. He's in Rebels. He's in pretty much everything that takes place in that time period. I fully expect him to be in the Bad Batch Season 3 as well. And does that dilute the character of Darth Vader? No. He's supposed to show up at those times. He's supposed to be hunting down the Jedi, and the characters we're following just so happen to be Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Cal Kestis, Obi-Wan Kenobi. These Jedi who survived Order 66 that are supposed to be hunted down by Inquisitors and Vader at the time. So it makes sense that he's there. And even when he shows up in these projects, he's only in a few minutes, or he's only in a few things. But there's a difference between Vader, because he's so prominent in the galaxy at that time, showing up, and Anakin showing up after he's already dead. Now, Anakin doesn't show up at all in the sequel trilogy, except for, of course, when he talks to Rey at the end with the rest of the Jedi. But it's way different now, because he only has ever shown up as a Force Ghost once before Ahsoka, and that was in Return of the Jedi, in the final scene. And then he just never shows up again. So the difference between having Vader show up in the Bad Batch Season 3 and having Anakin show up in Ahsoka Season 2 is drastic. It's enormous. And it's a completely different conversation almost, because Vader's supposed to be there. He's supposed to be ruling the galaxy, taking out Jedi, working for Palpatine, being his fist, being his right-hand man, his most powerful weapon. Anakin's supposed to be dead. And not many people are supposed to be able to communicate with the dead. Ahsoka being the key because she's the apprentice of Anakin. It makes sense for him to show up in the show. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. How much Anakin can we really use? It's tough. It is tough. Austin says, Anakin will be the father, Ahsoka will be the daughter, and Ezra will be the son. I don't think Ezra will be the son because you have to be fully dark side to be the son. You have to be the dark, living embodiment of the dark side of the Force, and Ezra's been light side almost his entire life except for that little brief stint there with Darth Maul, and I actually think Darth Maul would make a great son. Freak Seek says, I think Anakin will be there, but less than he was in Season 1. Less than he was in Season 1. He's only in one episode. So it wouldn't be that much, you know? Skywalker Academy says, I also have thoughts of Anakin showing up to whomever is necessary, as Yoda did for Ezra and many others. That's a great point as well. Ezra Bridger meets Yoda in Star Wars Rebels. Ezra doesn't even know who Yoda is. Has no idea. He wasn't at the Jedi Temple. He doesn't know who Yoda is. Yoda goes into hiding the day that Ezra's born. He has no clue who Yoda is. But Yoda shows up to Ezra Bridger. Is Anakin going to be the new Yoda? Or here's something that you guys can chew on. Are we going to see a Force Ghost Obi-Wan or Yoda anymore? Luke still exists. Luke is fully there. And Obi-Wan's Force Ghost has shown up to Luke multiple times in the original trilogy. Yoda, as a Force Ghost, shows up to Luke in The Last Jedi. That doesn't mean that that's the first time he's seen Yoda as a Force Ghost. It's going to be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. John Groom, what's up, says, appearing in Ahsoka Season 2 isn't going to damage his legacy. In fact, he's been underutilized. Should have appeared in the sequel trilogy. I think one appearance in the sequel trilogy wouldn't have hurt. That's for sure. But the fact is, we've already seen him in Ahsoka, Season 1, multiple times. In the World Between Worlds, in the real world as a Force Ghost, and in the Clone Wars, of course. I think Ahsoka Season 2 is the most likely place to see him next because of his connection with Ahsoka. He's a part of Ahsoka's story, a big, big part of Ahsoka's story. So it would make the most sense that we'd see him there. Plus, they're on Peridia. The Mortis gods are there. He's possibly the father, the new Mortis god. That is definitely possible. It's other projects that are very, very intriguing to me. Would he show up in Dave Filoni's movie? I don't think so. I don't think so. But we'll see. Freak Zeke says, yes plus no equals maybe. No, it means yes and no. Liam Neeson says, do you think that we will see Luke and Anakin interact? I think if... that is tough. That is really tough. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it would be more likely that we would see Luke interact with Yoda or Obi-Wan before we see him interact with the Force Ghost of Anakin. He of course saved his father, and his father is his father. But I don't know if Anakin can be seen as a Force Ghost. I would go back again to the final scene of Ahsoka, where Ahsoka doesn't see Anakin. He's not physically there. I don't know if he can be a Force Ghost. Even in the end of Return of the Jedi, is he really there? Luke could just be smiling at Obi-Wan and Yoda, because he never shows up ever again. That's the biggest thing. He never shows up ever again as a Force Ghost, as far as we know, until the end of the sequel trilogy. Never. Never once. This is tough. Cole says, Anakin being tied to the Mortis gods makes his continued appearance being integral to the story. Yes, with the Mortis gods being present on Peridia, and the Ahsoka Season 2, of course, being on Peridia, Anakin's, maybe not even appearance, but Anakin's pull on the season will be felt. Big time. Yeah. Knights of Melvin, what's up? Melvin says, more Anakin for fan service and viewership. No. I mean, Anakin showing up in Ahsoka Season 1 is not fan service at all. Yes, it does please the fans, but that doesn't mean that it's not necessary, or I should say helpful to the story. Ahsoka was in a tough spot in this time and needed another lesson, or a final lesson from her master, and that's not really fan service. You could say pretty much anything is fan service if you wanted, from beginning to end in Star Wars, but it's not. It's a prominent character, Anakin is, that has a connection to the titular character of the show, Ahsoka. Yeah. Fearless says, Anakin was her master. That's a huge thing for a Padawan, and he is the most important person to her. Yeah. I mean, she trained under Anakin for years and then left the Jedi Order, left him, and that led to him falling to the dark side and becoming the most evil being in the galaxy, killing thousands and thousands and thousands of Jedi. So I feel like Ahsoka might have a little bit of guilt about that. And that's where we lead into this 5th episode of Ahsoka, where Anakin rights that wrong kind of by teaching Ahsoka one last lesson, that she's not her master. She's not Anakin. She's not going to turn out the same way that he did. Yeah. Damn it, I just scrolled down to the bottom. Cole says, so not fan service, I'd argue. It lines up with the Clone Wars perfectly. I agree. I don't think it's fan service at all to have Anakin in the Ahsoka series. Ahsoka can't carry a show on her own, and they had to bring in Anakin. I actually disagree. Not that I don't think that Anakin, not that Ahsoka couldn't carry her own show. She definitely could. But Anakin showing up was an important piece, again, like I just said, to telling the story of what Ahsoka's going through right now. We could fully go through season 2 of Ahsoka without Anakin in it, but you're talking about one character carrying a whole show. There's a cast of characters the entire time, you know? John Groom says, technically 3 episodes. One has a hologram of him. Oh, that's true. Yeah, what episode? Episode 6 or something has a hologram of him? Or 7? That's true. You can't have too much Anakin. Interesting. Skywalker Academy says, it's really because some fans don't watch the Clone Wars, but it's fine. It's all fine. Too much Anakin? Never. With Mortis gods involved, he definitely should be involved too. Well, the Mortis god thing on Peridia is very interesting. It's going to be probably one of the biggest things come season 2, the Mortis god statues, because the first little bit of artwork that we got for Ahsoka, let me show it to you. Ahsoka season 2. First concept art was revealed for Ahsoka season 2, and it was this of Ahsoka and Sabine standing on the Mortis god statue, the father's finger, the same one we saw Baylan standing on in the finale of Ahsoka. So obviously the Mortis gods are going to continue to be a very important piece to the puzzle in Ahsoka season 2. Now, of course, Baylan Skull is a tough one because Ray Stevenson sadly passed away last year. So how they're going to go about the continuation of the Mortis gods on Peridia and the continuation of Baylan's character on Peridia without Baylan. Obviously, a recast is most likely what we're talking about here, but they could go more the route of they don't know what happened to Baylan for the majority of the season, and Ahsoka and Sabine are trying to figure out what happened, and then they come across whatever the glimmer of light was on the mountain, and we go on from there. Maybe you don't even see Baylan at all. It's a possibility. But we do know that the Mortis gods will be an important part of this upcoming second season. And Anakin is heavily involved to the Mortis gods. He is supposed to be the guy who takes over the father's role. That's what the whole Mortis arc of the Clone Wars was made to be. That's exactly what it was. So seeing Anakin in the Mortis gods be a relevant point in Ahsoka season 2 would make sense, because Anakin, I still believe, is the father of the Force now that he's gone. That's why you can see him switch back and forth between evil Anakin and light side Anakin in the world between worlds like it's literally nothing. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says, or John Groom says, love to see Kanan show up to Jason. That would be pretty cool, because Kanan's Force Ghost, again, perfect example. You see Kanan Jarrus. The audience sees Kanan Jarrus in Star Wars Rebels put his hand on Hera Syndulla's shoulder. This was in the World Between Worlds episode, I believe. We see this. Hera Syndulla's like looking into the pit, and you see the audience sees Kanan Jarrus put his hand on Hera Syndulla's shoulder. Do we remember this? Yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Okay. And Hera he's not physically there. His Force Ghost isn't there. But to show the audience that he is there, they show us a Force Ghost. But he wasn't physically there. I think that's very similar to what we saw at the end of Ahsoka Season 1 with Anakin Skywalker. He wasn't physically there, but to show the audience that he was, we got to see him. I think that's very true. And I think it's possible that Kanan Jarrus could sort of not appear to his son because he didn't learn how to become a Force Ghost. Kanan didn't learn. So maybe some way he could train his son, maybe through a hologram or something, holocron or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think a live action appearance of Kanan is on its way. Yeah. Knights of Melvin says they should focus on trying to make Ahsoka in live action and an interesting character, enough to make fans care about her instead of relying on legacy characters. Well, I'd argue that Ahsoka is a legacy character, but we'll get to that in a second. So they should try to focus on making Ahsoka live action an interesting character. Okay, let's put it there. You mean like just the live action version of Ahsoka? Because we both know that the animated version of Ahsoka is one of the most intriguing characters in Star Wars. Live action Ahsoka, let's put that just live action Ahsoka. So just live action Ahsoka within herself, I think, actually goes through a very good amount of, I mean, she's the main character of her own show. She goes through a very good amount of storytelling in an actual character arc in her own live action show. I think in The Mandalorian, she's probably not used too much. She's just used as the mythological character that gives us Grogu's name. But once it comes to her own show, that's when it's like, okay, this is the real deal. So I disagree more. I couldn't disagree more. But Ahsoka is a legacy character. She just is. She just is at this point. She's been around for a lot longer than almost, I mean, any of these characters that we're talking about right now. Grogu, Din Djarin, Kanan Jarrus. Like, she's been around for way longer than any of them, by over a decade. Or close to. So, yeah. Cole says, there is definitely a line. They need to be careful not to cross it in showing too much Anakin, but I don't feel like they have been anywhere close to it yet. And like I said, he makes more sense for this show, and maybe an appearance to Luke, like in Obi-Wan style in the original trilogy. Subtle but meaningful. Ahsoka is the only show that his continued presence as Anakin makes sense after the original trilogy, at least. That's very well said. I think Ahsoka, because it is her show, Anakin still appearing makes sense because he has such an integral part of Ahsoka's character. And maybe seeing him in season 2 would make sense if it's done correctly, of course. But showing up to different characters or being in different shows, like Anakin showing up in The Mandalorian season 3 or 4 or whatever, wouldn't make sense. Anakin Skywalker showing up in Skeleton Crew wouldn't make sense. Even you could argue the Mandalorian and Grogu movie wouldn't make sense. Dave Filoni's movie wouldn't make sense. So it's possible that the only actual appearance of Anakin Skywalker that we could see in recent or in upcoming future would be Ahsoka season 2. Then we might get a hiatus from Hayden's character, Anakin, for a long, long time. It's possible. Skywalker Academy says, well, you're telling people why she's important with Anakin's appearance because some people who didn't watch the Clone Wars, so introductions are in order. She's Anakin's Padawan. That's what Ahsoka doesn't get a lot of credit for. The show itself, or at least Dave Filoni doesn't get a lot of credit for, is giving us the whole Ahsoka series. And you can watch that series without having to have seen Rebels, Clone Wars, or anything that came before. You can figure out who Ahsoka is, who the Rebels crew are, who Ezra is, who Thrawn is, who Anakin is, who all these people are, without having watched anything else beforehand. That is extremely important when it came to the creation of the Ahsoka series, and he did it so extremely well. If you didn't know who Ahsoka was, you would immediately pick up that she's the apprentice to Anakin, they trained in the Clone Wars, and you even got to see instances of the Clone Wars shown to us. It's pretty damn cool. It is pretty damn cool how he did it. Yeah. Not enough to make people care about Ahsoka. She has no personality and is very boring. I could not disagree with you more. Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, arguably my favorite character in Star Wars. And no personality is just absolutely insane. Anthony says, Mike, Anakin is the father of the Mortis gods. He most definitely knows who Jason is. He's aware that he is a difference maker and is finding and saving Ahsoka. Anakin is god tier powered. I agree with you, but I don't see there being a reason for him to go talk to Jason or train Jason Syndulla. Like, that makes no sense. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says, they make her interesting. Dave always starts slow with the first series. I don't think that was a slow start at all with the first season of Ahsoka. But, sure. Yeah. Anakin appears in 4 episodes of Ahsoka Season 1. 3, no? Well, yeah, I guess you're right, actually. She does appear at the last scene of the episode before he's in the whole episode, episode 4. So, yeah, 4 episodes, I suppose. But in the 3 episodes that he is in that isn't that 5th episode, it's like a couple seconds. So, yeah. Yeah. Cole says, I do agree, Melvin. They can still do more. Her arc in acting didn't do quite enough for me in the first season. Hopefully they build her character more in season 2. I disagree, but okay. John Grimm says, Yoda wasn't dead when he appeared to Ezra. No, he wasn't. You were correct. He was not. But that doesn't really change anything. I think Dave Filoni will explain in his upcoming shows why Anakin didn't show up as a Force ghost in the sequel. I think so too. And a lot of that explanation is going to be that he couldn't. I still don't think that Anakin Skywalker has the ability to show up as a Force ghost. I don't think so, because I think that's why he doesn't for Luke. He doesn't for Ahsoka. And he just doesn't in the sequel trilogy at all. Even the Force Ghost we saw at the end of Ahsoka Season 1 wasn't physically there. And Anakin does not have the ability to become a Force Ghost. Or maybe he did at one point, just like for one instance at the end of Return of the Jedi. And then when he chose to become the Father, he lost the ability or doesn't have the ability to, I don't know. Something along those lines. He just doesn't have the ability. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says, because he's not Luke's master. He's not Rey's master. He's not Ben's master. The influence of the Sith, the dark side, and is still going throughout the galaxy. Oh, you're saying that's why he didn't show up in the sequel trilogy? Well, he would have shown up to Luke. He would have shown up to Luke if he had the ability to when Luke decided to go kill his grandson. He would have been like, hey, look, buddy, I did this before and it didn't work. You know? Or he'd show up to Ben Solo at least and say, look, buddy, I tried this before and it didn't work. Yeah. Anthony says, Anakin is protecting the living and cosmic force. He's the custodian of the force. Okay. He will appear to whomever is necessary. If he fights Abeloth, he's winning. Wait, his winning will weaken him? A whining will weaken him, maybe? I don't think he'll fight against Abeloth, but yeah. Technically, Luke did see Anakin's Force Ghost in Return of the Jedi. Did he, though? Qui-Gon appeared... Oops. Damn it. Qui-Gon appears as a Force Ghost in Kenobi. Makes no sense. Melvin, I will give you that. As in canon, before... it was explained that Qui-Gon did not finish his training and he was not able to appear as a Force Ghost. What's up, Travis? How we doing? But with that being said, and actually Sam Witwer explained this very well, Force Ghosts haven't really been explained to us at all, in the slightest. Force Ghosts have not been explained really well at all. But what Sam Witwer said in this interview was, it's possible that a Force Ghost, and this is sort of like a newer explanation of it, a Force Ghost can only appear to the person when they're ready to see them, or something along those lines. For example, Obi-Wan seeing Qui-Gon. When he sees Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon pretty much says something along the lines of, I've been waiting for you. And Obi-Wan has been trying to call out to Qui-Gon for so long, but he's not been ready to see him. He's not been ready for his training. And that's something very similar to what happens in The Last Jedi with Luke and Yoda. Yoda only appears to Luke when Luke needs him the most and is ready to see him. And that could be something that we will learn more about as Force Ghosts become more of a thing in the future of Star Wars, because Force Ghosts are such an elusive thing. They're very mysterious, a lot like Yoda's species or something like that, where we don't know much about them. And a lot of explanation is still to come when it comes to Force Ghosts. So, like you said, Melvin, Qui-Gon appearing to Obi-Wan at the end of Kenobi, as far as we understood Force Ghosts, was impossible. But now, it might be possible. That is. Kuju Man, what's up, Kuju Man? Says, will season 2 ever happen, given the new movies falling on from season 1? Will season 2 ever happen? Well, yeah, it's been confirmed. Season 2 will probably come out, I'd guess, at the end of 2025. Dave Filoni, they have said that it's going to come out, I believe, before the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So yeah, it'll come out before then. And yeah, it's been confirmed by Lucasfilm themselves. Melvin says, did you watch the Clone Wars Season 6? Qui-Gon claims his training was incomplete. Therefore, he could not display himself as a Force Ghost. Yes, but that was before. And what makes it that he can't complete his training after he died? Ever think of that? Star Wars for Life, what's up, says, is that a Black Series Boba Fett helmet? I actually don't know if it's the Black Series, but it is a Boba Fett helmet. So, I don't know. I don't know, and I just realized how off my camera is today. Hang on. Better? That's better. Okay. That's much better. You and your dad are watching Clone Wars Season 4 right now? That's awesome, Austin. John Groom says, the statues on Peridia doesn't mean the Mortis gods are there. True. Monuments to them are probably on countless planets. I don't know about that, but maybe they are there to warning for something else. Well, obviously the Mortis gods are pointing, or the father's pointing at something. Clearly that's important. And they're pointing at whatever the glimmer of light is on the mountain, which is probably, if we use legends and our own sort of knowledge to infer what's going on here, it's probably where they imprisoned Abeloth. And that's where Balin's going to free her. Because the Mortis gods are now dead. They're all dead. That's what we see in the Clone Wars Season 2 or 3 or something like that. Season 2 or 3. And that's why she's able to probably be freed by Balin, because now the Mortis gods are all dead. Now, I do agree with you that there's probably some other statues of the Mortis gods on different planets. We've seen the mural of them on Lothal. But I wouldn't say that they're on countless planets. Not many people really know who the Mortis gods are, and very few have ever seen them. So, statues of them are probably rare, far and few between. Peridia is a very interesting thing, because the Mortis gods are only called the Mortis gods because the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars. They're actually called the Ones. They're only called Mortis gods because the planet Mortis is where we see Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka go to in the Clone Wars. But that's not their home world. So they're not even Mortis gods, they're the Ones. Their home world is where they prisoned Abeloth, and then they had to leave that planet because of the power of Abeloth. And that's when they ended up on on Mortis. So it's possible that Peridia has these statues of them because that was their homeworld. And maybe the Night Sisters who lived there, or whomever lived there before, made statues of them because that's where they lived, and they were the gods living on that planet, and they took care of them or did whatever. That's definitely a possibility. Kuju Man says, meh, Disney destroyed Star Wars with wokeness now anyhow. No. That's just so far wrong, it's insane. Disney destroying Star Wars, it's no. Like, you can't look at me and say that Rogue One, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Rebels, Clone Wars Season 7, Andor, maybe even Book of Boba Fett, like, you can't look at me and tell me that that stuff isn't some of the best Star Wars stuff that there is. Because let's be honest, before Disney took over, there was only the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and the Clone Wars. Some of that stuff that I just mentioned isn't some of the best Star Wars content there's ever been. And Disney made it. Like, this whole thing is just purely based off of the sequel trilogy, which is a poorly planned sequel trilogy, and that's it. Pretty much everything else, except for a few exceptions here and there, other than the sequel trilogy, has been incredible. And it's just stupid people yelling louder than others. Yeah, what the hell, Fearless? You forgot to smash the like button. Can we get some likes on this stream? How many likes do we even have on the stream right now? What's going on here? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Only 10 likes? What the? All right, moving on. Melvin says, careful, 80% of the chat may disagree with you. Well, the host of the chat definitely disagrees with you. Austin says, I think the father was pointing at the portal of Mortis. So you think that the glimmer of light on the mountain is going to be a portal to the planet of Mortis? Because we don't really know how to get there. What's up, Ellie? We don't know how to get to Mortis because Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan just happened to pass out, and then when they woke up, they were on the planet. So we don't really know how to get there. That's actually a pretty good theory. Star Wars for Life says, I have the Black Series Bo-Katan helmet. Currently drawing Bo-Katan also. That's awesome. Yeah, Star Wars for Life is quite the artist, if you guys don't know. But Bo-Katan's helmet is very cool. The Black Series one, I definitely want that. Add to my collection. Cole says, I could have mistaken, but I'm fairly sure that Yoda learned how to become a Force ghost from Qui-Gon in Revenge of the Sith. That's like a deleted scene, I believe, but that is some aspect of it. But it's more so in the Clone Wars Season 6 when Yoda learns to become a Force ghost. Yeah. It's Me says, do you think that Anakin will fight Abeloth? And we will at least see Abeloth in Ahsoka Season 2. I think we will see Abeloth in Ahsoka Season 2, but I don't think Anakin will fight her. No. If I draw Commander Wolf, should it be Phase 1 or Phase 2? Phase 2. Phase 1. Phase 1. Yeah, Phase 1. Yeah. If anyone, Ezra will be training Jason Syndulla. I think Ezra definitely will, because Ezra is of course, apprentice to Kanan, who is Jason's father, so it's like poetry. It rhymes. Yeah, for sure. Ian, what's up, says, I'm not sure Freddy is interested in playing Kanan in live action. I don't know if he is, but there's not much room for him to anyway, because his character is dead. But maybe a flashback sequence, maybe a possible couple second appearance. It's possible. Yeah. Oh, I just scrolled down to the bottom. No. Ahsoka has been in Star Wars universe for 16 years. Yes, that makes her a legacy character now. I agree. I think anything probably older than 10 years is kind of, could probably considered a legacy character at some point. I mean, when do you consider a character legacy? At what point? Skywalker Academy says, no, there will always be... What? Oh, there will always be people who disagree. We just have to know how to handle the situation and not attack a person for their own point of views. It is the Jedi way. That's true. Obviously, I'm not going to... There's a lot of people in this chat, I know for a fact, that have told me in past that The Last Jedi is their favorite movie, and I'm not going to, shit on them for that, even though I don't particularly like The Last Jedi. That's just idiotic. So this is not the place to come if you're here to just crap on other people for their likes and dislikes, you know? Yeah, no? John Groom says, if Anakin is the father, then he shouldn't appear all the time because the Mortis gods didn't get involved with the mortal realm. That is true. That is true. I think it's more so because of the connection to Ahsoka Tano that Anakin shows up. And it's Ahsoka's show, obviously. If he is a Mortis god, he shouldn't interfere with the mortal realm. I agree with that. Ahsoka's persona up to becoming Ahsoka the White was intentional, sorry. She was racked with guilt over Anakin, and this is what episode 5 was all about, is getting the great the greatest character arc. I agree with that, yeah. Travis, what's up? Skywalker Academy says Luke's situation with Ben Solo was different than what his father did. That's why Anakin doesn't show up. Luke has to figure it out himself, just as Ben Kenobi couldn't interfere with his experience with Vader. A little bit yes and no, though, because I think Anakin probably could have appeared at some point, at any point, to Luke before or after the events of what happened with Ben Solo. Because Luke goes to Ock 2, and he's there for like years and years and years and years. And never once does Anakin show up to him. So at some point he probably should have. Cole says, I really loved Ahsoka, but I don't think that her character has lived up to the animated version just yet. Which, TBF? To be fair, maybe? Is pretty darn hard. I'm the worst with acronyms, guys. To be fair, I'm surprised I even came up with that. It's pretty darn hard to do. LOL? Lick. I don't know. But as her arc continues, I think it should reach the Clone Wars level. Well, I think a lot of what you guys are talking about here with Ahsoka's character not really feeling like the character from the Clone Wars is because of the fact that it's not. She's supposed to be in a weird spot in her life where she's still feeling all this heavy guilt about what happened with Anakin. Anakin fell to the dark side, became the most evil being in the galaxy, and died. And she feels extremely responsible for that. Then Sabine's whole family dies. And then she feels extremely responsible for not allowing Sabine to fall to the dark side. Then she thinks that if she goes down the same path as Anakin, then she will go to the dark side. Like, all of that is weighing on Ahsoka's shoulders right now. And that's why she's not the same happy-go-lucky girl that we see in the Clone Wars. I think now even towards the end of Season 1, we got to see more of a happier Ahsoka. When she comes out literally right after the whole World Between Worlds sequence, she's all smiling. She goes up to the Jason and is like, what's up, bro? And then like they do a handshake and they're like it's a different Ahsoka, even from episode 5 on. So I think we will get back to that Clone Wars Ahsoka that we all know and love. Yeah. 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 Filoni takes a while but the ultimate conclusion of his arcs are fantastic. That's true. He's very good at having all characters go on arcs. Think about the Ahsoka show itself. Ahsoka goes on an incredible arc. Sabine goes on an incredible arc, whether people like it or not. Even characters that show up halfway through the show go on incredible arcs, but Baylan goes on one, Shin goes on one, Morgan Elsbeth, who's a character who showed up once in The Mandalorian Season 2, goes on an incredible arc in Ahsoka Season 1, and eventually dies in that final season as well. So even with the Ahsoka show itself, even Hera Syndulla with the whole New Republic stuff is very intriguing as well. What's up, Aaron? How we doing? What's up? Love seeing all these members in the chat today. It makes me nice and happy. Travis says, Qui-Gon confronts his trials after his death. Yoda and Obi-Wan do so during their exile, so they appear instantly. Anakin's willingly giving his life, basically passing all the trials instantly. My take. Well, in I believe in the canon novel about Return of the Jedi, Obi-Wan comes to Anakin and tells him to look, buddy, you're gonna die. You're gonna disappear forever if you don't listen to me right now. And that's how he sort of keeps Anakin alive in his own head, kind of. But yes, Yoda and Obi-Wan learn to become Force ghosts in their exile. Qui-Gon doing it after his life is definitely possible, but I think it's more of what Sam Witwer was kind of explaining, where Force ghosts only appear to the people who, when they need them and when they're able to open up to them, if that makes sense. Yeah. I suppose Force ghosts do need limitations. Otherwise, they would be absolutely everywhere. That's true. Yes. I mean, they definitely need limitations. The fact that Luke was interfering with the real world in Rise of Skywalker made things very, very weird. He grabs the lightsaber and all that stuff like that, and he forces the whole X-Wing out of the water. That has sort of changed even more of what we think of Force Ghosts and their abilities. So maybe from here on out it gets even crazier, but we'll see. Skywalker Academy says, I have strong doubts that Luke thought about killing Ben. I've considered that he felt Palpatine's presence in the room, recognizing the influence in Ben's mind. Igniting the lightsaber was reactive. But Luke saw the look in Ben's eyes and replayed it until it became his reality. I think a lot of, although I don't like the explanation that hasn't been explained about that scene, I think in my own head, at least for now, I think that Palpatine was orchestrating that whole thing. I think that Palpatine was in both of their heads at the time, probably planting seeds. I think Palpatine also planted the seeds of Padme dying in Anakin's head, and the foreshadowing of Padme dying in Anakin's head in Revenge of the Sith as well. So I think he did something probably similar with Luke and Ben Solo, and that's kind of how we got there. But that's not explained well enough. I need that explained. I need it. Travis says, in the canon comics, Ghost of Vader's Castle, a group of people are captured by the acolyte of his castle, and Anakin's ghost appears to all of them to help them escape. Ghost of Vader's Castle? Canon comic? Is that after Return of the Jedi? I'm not familiar with that comic at all, actually. I'm not familiar. Oh, just scroll down to the bottom again. No. Okay, found it. Travis says, Luke always reacts in rage when his loved ones are threatened. When he raised his lightsaber to Ben, he's not seeing Ben, rather the death of his friends and family. Well, yeah, again, a lot like Anakin sees Padme dying in Revenge of the Sith, Luke could have been seeing his whole Jedi Temple dying. And Ben is the cause of that, and that's what leads him to killing Ben, or trying to kill Ben, a lot like Anakin killing younglings. Anakin was a very good guy, never a guy who would kill younglings until those things were planted in his brain, until the dark side consumed him. But the difference between these two stories is we got to see what Anakin went through, Anakin's fall to the dark side, Anakin seeing those visions, Anakin having Palpatine pull on him throughout the entire prequel trilogy and 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. We don't get any of that. With Luke Skywalker and his Jedi Temple, and what happened with him and Palpatine, and what happened with Ben Solo and him and Palpatine. Like, we don't get any of that. So that's the biggest difference, and that's what we need. We need explanation. We need to see that, and that'll be way, way better. Yeah. John Groom says, in the Clone Wars, Anakin and co. see a large black diamond ship in space, which they enter and pass out before waking up on Mortis. Yes, and that like large diamond, black diamond shaped ship is supposed to be very similar to the ship that comes and picks up all the Jedi for the Dawn of the Jedi novels, and brings them to Tython. Like these giant, pretty much pyramid ship things come around the galaxy, pick up Force sensitives, and bring them to Tython. Yeah. Ellie says, I got to watch The Chosen episode 4 and episode 1 through 3 in theaters on Saturday. And I don't want to spoil any. Wait, what? I got to watch The Chosen episode 4, episode 1 through 3. Oh, season 4, episode 1 through 3 on Saturday. And I don't want to spoil anything for those who don't watch it. But I was literally sobbing in the theater because what happened. What is The Chosen? Gotta look it up. The Chosen. The Chosen is this drama about the life of Jesus Christ. Will introduce Jesus and the calling of his... Oh, it's a Jesus show. I have not heard of this, and I did not realize that there was 4 seasons of it, but that sounds pretty cool. You got to go to the premiere of that? That's pretty cool. Fearless says, well, I can understand Luke's reaction. He was caught up with a vision, and he couldn't control it until he realized what he had done, and it was too late. I agree with that, and that's what, of course, Anakin happened. What happens with Anakin? But we didn't get to see any of it! And I need to see it. Seeing is believing. And until we get the explanation of that actually shown to us, I'm still lost. Yeah. Geez, all you guys watched The Chosen? What the hell? Never even heard of it. Star Wars 4 Life says, oh, thanks for the shout out. Glad you like my artwork. Oh, of course, it's great. If you guys are in the Discord, you've seen the artwork. It's incredible. That Darth Vader thing was like spot on. Spot on. Haha, the acronyms for the film are always what confused me for a while. I couldn't get Revenge of the Sith is ROTS. Yeah, the acronyms for the films actually are easy for me. It's more like the hip new slang. I'm not a hip new slang type of guy. So somebody put in like RRC or RR something. I forget. I couldn't do it. Yeah. Yeah. Melvin says, you can't justify the show's lack of context. Context to what? The show's lack of context. Show's lack of context. Show's lack of context. Context towards what? Freak Zeke says, I say Luke pulled himself back way sooner than he did with his youth when Vader... What? I say Luke pulled himself back way sooner than he did with his youth when Vader threatened to turn Leia. And that, just by hearing about that. Oh, I get you. Because Luke like kind of goes very angry in Return of the Jedi when Vader mentions Leia. And he goes, never! Yeah, that's true. Luke is a very tempered man. He's very angry. Yeah. Melvin says, most of what you are saying about Ahsoka's journey makes sense, but it's not explained well in the series. The series lacks context from the start. I disagree. I mean, well, what I'm explaining makes sense because that's what I saw in the show. And that's kind of what I just got from the show. So I'm not like creating my own narrative here. That's kind of just what the show told us. Just not directly, I guess. It was more sort of like finding out the context yourself type of thing. Yeah. Ian says, Qui-Gon affecting the real world in the Clone Wars Season 6. It was established ages ago. Does he establish? What? Qui-Gon? Does he? I don't remember that. How does Qui-Gon affect the real world? I don't remember that. Her journey doesn't need hand-holding explanations. It's obvious to me anyway. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a little mean way to say it, but yeah. Skywalker Academy says, yeah, it's difficult for me to write a story knowing as much lore as I do to give someone who hasn't seen any Star Wars or a particular part of it that exploration or exposition. I agree with that. It's very difficult to take into consideration all types of Star Wars fans, normies, hardcore, and all in between, that have seen everything, have seen certain things, and don't know who certain characters are. Because in The Mandalorian Season 2, when Ahsoka shows up, she's this mysterious character that you don't know if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, and it's very confusing. That sort of explanation happens throughout the Ahsoka series. Yeah. Leia is the only Skywalker to react responsibly, well, with the dark side visions. Yes, that's true. She sees the visions of Ben falling to the dark side, and she chooses not to become a Jedi anymore. She's a responsible Skywalker, that's for sure. Maybe it's because she becomes a Solo. Catherine, what's up? Says, didn't Leia reject Anakin's Force Ghost in the Thrawn series somewhere? In Legends, maybe, but that's not canon. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit let's shift gears a tad bit to The Bad Batch Season 3. I guess that's not a tad bit, that's a lot, because it's different completely. But The Bad Batch Season 3 is only 16 days away. 16 days away? 15 days away. Wait, what? 15 days away. The Bad Batch Season 3 is only 15 days away. And that's pretty damn exciting. We're going to do, of course, watch parties on the channel, prediction streams before each episode. That's going to be awesome. So on the 21st of February, there'll be 3 episodes premiering. Now, we know, of course, 15 days tomorrow. Okay. So we know, of course, that it comes out on a Wednesday. The 21st is a Wednesday. However, Disney shows used to come out on Wednesdays. Star Wars Disney shows used to come out on Wednesdays. However, the Ahsoka show changed that. It used to be like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Wednesday. was when Ahsoka would drop, because that's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Pacific Standard Time, whatever. So it would come out at 3 a.m. for me. And that sucked. That absolutely sucked. So when Ahsoka changed it to 9 p.m. the following, or the night before, on Tuesdays, that was incredible. So I really, 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 really hope that Ahsoka will be on Tuesday nights again. Because if it's 3 a.m., that'll be so bad. They really struck gold with doing that on the Tuesday nights before. It was a better time for almost everybody around the world, as far as I'm concerned. And I really hope they go back to that. So it's possible that it's only 14 days away that we get this third season of The Bad Batch, and I hope they continue with that 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday released window instead of the Wednesday 3 a.m.s, which would be perfect. But let's talk about The Bad Batch Season 3 itself. We've talked about Asajj Ventress and how it might be retconning the Dark Disciple novel and all that stuff. We've covered all of it. However, over the weekend, there was a podcast released from a YouTube channel called Rule the Galaxy. We're going to watch the clip from it, but they had the voice actress who voices Asajj Ventress on the show. Her name is Nika Futterman. And she talked about the fact that this is not the only time we are going to be seeing Asajj Ventress in the near future. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. Let's watch this clip from them first. They cut out the clip from their full-on podcast, which is fantastic. So this is the Rule of the Galaxy. I'm not too familiar with these guys. I definitely hit that subscribe for them. They have 300 subscribers, so go support them.
Yeah.
Oops. So I don't know how they got Nika Futterman on there. Nika, come on here. Like, what are we doing? But let's watch this. This is the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. This lady on the bottom right here, let's put her in the screen. This lady right here on the bottom is our lady, voice actress for Asajj Ventress, right here on the bottom with the nice hat and glasses, Nika Futterman. So this is what she had to say about Asajj.
Well, I guess I'm not allowed to give away that much, but
I didn't want you to give any. I didn't
no,
want
no,
you to
no.
give any.
I know you guys are.
Okay, that wasn't the point. Was like if you heard it, you heard the voice.
I want to say, I'll put it this way. Let's see if I could. Let me just say that I can explain it this way. Let's just say that this is just an appetizer.
Oh.
Well, I like the sound of that.
Seriously?
Wow.
I would say that there could be an entree and a dessert.
Ooh, nice.
Do not get yourself in trouble, but keep going.
but the point.
Just I was as surprised as everybody else. I was like, yeah, baby. But I didn't know what would come of this, and so it's just a little appetizer.
So that's the whole clip. So that is the entire clip. That's it. She obviously can't spoil anything from the upcoming show, but what she did say was so damn important that, of course, I made a full-on video about it on Sunday night. But if you haven't watched that, go watch it immediately. But what she said was so damn important because she said that the Bad Batch appearance of Asajj Ventress is just the appetizer. Now, if you're familiar with a meal, if you've ever eaten a meal before, you know that the appetizer is usually the smallest portion of that meal. The smallest, usually. And then you get an entree, and the entree is like the goodness, like usually this big, like this wide, and then you're like, you shove it down your mouth. Then she also mentioned a dessert as well. We'll get to that in a second. So, what does she mean by this? Well, I think not only is Asajj Ventress going to appear in The Bad Batch Season 3, I think she will be in Tales of the Jedi Season 2. In that Tales season will explain how Asajj is still alive after the events of Dark Disciple. I think that won't be explained in The Bad Batch Season 3, but it will be explained shortly after in Tales Season 2. And I actually think that Tales is not the entree because Tales will only be probably 3 episodes of Asajj, all around 10 minutes. That's about 30 minutes of Asajj. That is not my big entree that I just showed you right here. That is not it. I think Asajj will be the main character or a main character of the next animated show. We've been talking about this for a long time. What is going to be next what will be next for for animations of Star Wars after the Bad Batch, because this is the final season. We've talked about a Luke Jedi Temple show. We've talked about a possibility of continuing a Rex story with Rex and Cody or Rex and whomever after this show ends. But it's possible, and I've brought this up before, that Omega goes off and trains with Asajj Ventress because she is probably Force sensitive. And this new animated show could take place right after the Bad Batch in a time period where we really don't have any Star Wars content, if you really look at the timeline. And that's in between Order 66 and the Kenobi show, that 10-year gap. The Bad Batch is kind of in there, of course, but there's about 9 years. I think Fallen Order is the only thing that's in that time period. I mean, comics, yes, but other than that, there's nothing in there. So I think this animated show could fill that gap with possibly Omega, with possibly Boba Fett, with possibly Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos, and the hidden path that's mentioned in both Survivor and Kenobi. It's possible that Asajj Ventress was involved in that because Quinlan's involved in that, and Quinlan's name is mentioned in the path in Kenobi. So it's possible that we could see a show of Asajj Ventress, Omega, Quinlan saving other Jedi who survive Order 66. Possibly characters like Grogu, Kelleran Beck, possibly Jude Law's Jedi character who's going to show up in Skeleton Crew, and others who are like the underground pathway, the hidden path to stay away from the Empire. And it's possible that this next show could involve Omega and, of course, Asajj Ventress, and that would be the main entree, because it could be multiple seasons of a show like The Bad Batch that would follow this story, and Asajj could be one of the main characters. But what do we think about this? She just teased that we are only getting the entree of the return of Asajj Ventress in The Bad Batch Season 3, and that there will be a dessert and... sorry, did I say entree? Appetizer in The Bad Batch Season 3. And we are getting the entree and the dessert after The Bad Batch, meaning she's probably going to be in Tales of the Jedi Season 2. That's probably the best bet, the easiest bet. But I think that we're teasing at something bigger here. Teasing at something way bigger here. Yeah. But what do you guys think? Let me pull up the chat so I can see what you guys are talking about. What do we think? What do we think? Oops. 14 days. Wednesday to Wednesday is only 2 weeks. There you go. John says, John, did you type before and I just missed it? No. John says, I like that shows come out in the evenings. I couldn't watch the old times and frequently was hit by spoilers somewhere online before I got the chance to watch after work the next day. Yeah. It's a way better time to do it the night before. You get to watch it before you go to bed, or you get to watch it not at 3 in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. Might have to book a day off of work so I can watch the first 3 episodes with you guys. Well, you won't have to if it's the night before. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's off of work. Everybody's already home. Everybody can watch all 3 episodes with me on the watch party. But it's better for everybody. Ventress is also a legacy character. I agree with that. Star Wars for Life says, I've been waiting for the Bad Batch. I remember I finished the Bad Batch Season 2 with the cliffhanger. I was trying to go to the next episode, but it wasn't there. And I was like, damn, bro, I got scammed. Scammed? I don't think so. But yes, they did end that second season with a big cliffhanger of course, Omega having a sister clone, which was out of nowhere. Crosshair and Omega being on Mount Tantus, Tech's death, a lot of stuff was left up in the air. Yeah. Ventress in the Mandalorian. Okay, so let's talk about this. Ventress in the Mandoverse could be the dessert. She's only about 10 years older than Ahsoka. That is definitely possible, John, and let's talk about that a little bit. The dessert could be what John's referring to here, the Mandoverse. Asajj and her connection to a character like Ahsoka Tano, again, could allow her to appear in Ahsoka Season 2. There's a possibility that Asajj Ventress is being set up to make her live-action appearance in the Mandoverse to help the good guys. And honestly, that could also help Omega make a live-action appearance as well. because if she goes off with Omega, that's definitely possible too. But Asajj's relationship to Ahsoka alone, especially in those later seasons of the Clone Wars, gives her the ability to show up in the Mandoverse right alongside of Ahsoka. And that would be pretty damn cool. I agree. And if that's the dessert that she's talking about, that would be awesome. A live action Ventress. And not only that, not only is Ahsoka the only connection to Asajj, but the Night Sisters. The Night Sisters are back, and they're on Dathomir. And we've seen Asajj on Dathomir so many times with the other Night Sisters in the Clone Wars. Like, there is so much that could pull Asajj Ventress into the Mandoverse and actually allow her to make sense in being there. Yeah. Star Wars for Life says, could you do call-ins more often? We usually just, we just started doing call-ins the last couple of weeks, but we'll stick to once a week this time. For now, I guess. Just Saturdays. Saturdays work great because everybody's usually home on Saturdays. We get the most views on Saturday streams, I think. And people are around and have the ability to do call-ins on Saturdays the most. John Groom says, in the UK, remember? Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'll have to book off work. That blows. Yeah, that sucks. Fearless says, here in Germany, too, I might have to pull an all-nighter for the Bad Batch Season 3. Yeah, so if it comes out at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, what time is that for you guys around the world? Friggins, what's up? Catherine says, do you have watch parties like Real Rejects with the show in the Oval? I don't know what the Real Rejects do. I've never watched them before, but no, the show's not anywhere on my screen because that would get copyrighted. I don't know how they get away with that if it is on their screen. But no, we just put a timer in the top corner and we press play at the same time and we react and watch together. Yeah. Yeah. Friggin says, I'm late, but here's my 2 cents. Yes, yes, and yes. More Anakin. I like it. Would be 3 a.m. for me. That's not too bad, Fearless. But that would mean that the 3 a.m. for me would be a way better release date for you because it would be like, I don't know. What would that be? What is it, 6 hours before? Yeah, 6 hours before. So it would be like 9 a.m. So you'd just be waking up and watching it. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Sorry. I don't know what time zone I'm in. You don't know what time zone you're in? I don't know. Are you on the East Coast? Are you on the West Coast? I don't know. I don't know how to help you there. I don't know how to help you. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? What about it? Right now it's 3:22 Eastern Standard Time. It means if you're on the West Coast... Am I in Australia? No. No, I'm not. I would love a flashback featuring Anakin and Baylan. Ooh, that would be cool because Baylan, of course, knew who Anakin was and spoke highly of Ahsoka to Baylan. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, maybe in Tales of the Jedi. That's definitely possible. Definitely possible. If Tales of the Jedi Season 2 is Baylan and Asajj, how awesome would that be? The lineup of Asajj and Baylan. Yeah. I think that's when they will drop. No, they'll probably drop at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when Ahsoka did, at least. I'm an hour behind you. Okay, so you're in, not Mountain Time. What's the one before Mountain Time? Central Time? I think you're in Central Time. Central Time. Yeah. All right, let's read this article about Andor Season 2, and then we're probably going to get on out of here. A shorter stream today. I got places to be today, but we'll get to it. I don't know. Real Rejects get away with broadcasting the show simultaneously with their commentary. That's crazy. How do they do that? How do they get away with that? Like, you put anything from Disney Plus on a screen, it gets shut down immediately. That's crazy. Okay, let's talk about Andor Season 2. We got some Andor news in the house as they finished up filming. This is Stellan Skarsgård. Oops, so that's way... okay, let's fix that. Stellan Skarsgård, satisfied. Stellan is the one who plays Luthen in the show, Andor. Stellan is satisfied with Andor's Season 2 ending, reiterating praise for the show's writing. So here's what he had to say. Andor Season 2 wrapped production a few days ago, and it has another year until it comes out on Disney+. but it seems like everyone is pretty confident in the showrunner Tony Gilroy and his team of writers that will wrap up the show. Andor season 1, of course, has a ton of hype behind it. A lot of fans loved Andor season 1. I'm expecting Andor season 2 to be even better than the first season, as it goes every year up until there. Lightwood, the what? What's up? How we doing? Says, yes, let's hope Anakin comes back. I agree with that. All right, let's keep going. The latest example comes from Stellan Skarsgård, who is out in the world promoting Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2. So Dune, any of you guys watch the Dune movies? I'm pretty excited for Dune Part 2. I've heard good things. I wasn't the biggest fan of Dune 1. I haven't watched it in years now, so I'll have to go rewatch it. But I'm excited. I'm excited for Dune 2. Yeah. All right. Though he couldn't say much when IO9 asked him about the Star Wars series, his face apparently lit up. He added, "I'm satisfied where it's going." Yeah. It's such good writing, and Tony Gilroy. And it's Tony Gilroy. I really like to say his lines. That's pretty good. So Skarsgård has been pretty consistent with his praise of Tony Gilroy's writing from day one. The actor who played the supporting role of Cassian's mentor, Luthen, in the first season, has always been a big champion of the show. Luthen is my favorite character from season 1. And I can't wait to see what happens to his character in season 2, because his character isn't in anything else. So his future is kind of up in the air. Will he die in the second season? I don't know, but we'll see. He's always been a big champion of the show and the direction set by the showrunner. Details on season 2 are kept tightly under wraps, but given the ending of season 1 and Cassian's integration into the nascent, Rebel Alliance, we expect to see a lot more of Luthen in the new season. So I can't wait to see what Luthen. Do you guys think he's gonna die? Do you think Luthen's gonna die in his second season? That would suck. The structure of season 2 has also been out in the world before the first one even came out. 12 episodes divided into 4 blocks of 3. So this is what the second season will look like. 12 episodes again, just like season 1, divided into 4 blocks of 3 episodes, where each block is separated by a whole year gap. So a year in between each 3 episodes that will lead right into Rogue One. It covers a few days worth of relevant events. Everyone is coming back except for Alex Ferns. I don't know who that is, apparently, including Andy Serkis himself, whose involvement was confirmed in one of many press releases coming out from Star Wars Celebration London. So Andy Serkis, the character Kino Loy, who we thought died in the first season, is back for the second season as well. Andor Season 2 is currently targeting a 2025 release date after being pushed back from its planned August 2024 window due to the strikes. Lucasfilm will be releasing 2 live-action series this year in Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte, as well as 3 animated, from the final episodes of Young Jedi Adventure to The Bad Batch Season 3 to Tales of the Jedi Season 2. So even if Tony Gilroy and his team were finished post-production in time, Lucasfilm will likely wait until 2025 to space out their releases anyway. So that's pretty much it. That's all we got from Luthen. As he says, is pretty great, and he praises Tony Gilroy a little bit more, but it does bring up some pretty big questions. First of all, Andy Serkis' return. Kino Loy was he can't swim. He can't swim. But also Luthen. Do you think Luthen's going to die in this second season? What do we think? What do we think? Freegan says, my pick for Tales of the Jedi would be Ezra, to show how he built his green lightsaber and show his arrival with Thrawn to Peridia. Having Ezra's story about his time on Peridia would be pretty cool as well. Yeah. Yeah. Freegan says, I'm mid on Dune. Everyone forgot what happened in the first one. Yeah, they spaced out the movies way too much. Yeah, for sure. I don't even remember it all. But it does make you go rewatch the first one again, which is kind of smart. Fearless says, I liked the new Dune better than the one from the 80s. I actually never watched the one from the 80s, but I did watch the new one. I kind of liked it. I think it's like, obviously it came before Star Wars, but it seems like a bad version of Star Wars, honestly. Friggin says, yes, Luthen will die. Spectacularly for the cause, he says. I don't know. I want Luthen to survive because he's a great character, but again, he's not in the original trilogy, and it's likely that he will die. Star Wars for Life says, I'm ashamed, but I haven't seen Andor yet. Just the first episode. Probably should do that. Yeah, you probably should. Actually, there's a few people in the chat that I know that have never seen Andor as well. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Dun dun! Alright. Friggin says, I loved David Lynch's Dune. It was so freaking weird. I don't know is that the first one or is that the 80s one? I don't know. We didn't think he died. What? Who? Kino Loy? But he couldn't swim. Where's he going to show up next? You know? Nice Ahsoka mug. Thanks. Yeah, I got it at Fan Expo over the summer. Pretty epic, if I do say so myself. Star Wars for Life says, oh, okay. You know what I'm going to, I'm going to watch it right now. There you go. Go watch it. Thanks for the good cups for all orders. I appreciate you guys. All right. I think I'm going to get on out of here. I know a shorter stream today. I apologize. An hour and a half has become a shorter stream somehow because recently we've just been going 2 hours plus for so long, which is awesome. But I do have places to be tonight, so I got to get on out of here. Yeah. So, of course, live streams, as always, are on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Watch out for a video coming up very soon. Maybe, if not tomorrow, then probably Friday. Yeah, so we'll get to that. Okay, Anthony says, put in your last chats before I get on out of here. Anthony says, I love Luthen, and I wish that he could appear in animation in The Bad Batch or in book form. However, I am certain that Tony Gilroy doesn't want anyone touching / using his characters. I don't think so. Tony Gilroy probably doesn't really care what else goes on around Star Wars. Please watch Andor. It gets better and better. And I'm looking forward to season 2. Yeah. Cassian will kill the Andy Serkis character, Kino Loy, for being a double agent. Really? You think Kino Loy is a double agent? I don't know. Good cuts for all orders. This is one of my favorite parts of the live streams. Thanks, Maggie. It's a fun thing that we just keep going, you know? Yeah, no? All right. I'm going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate all you guys so much more than you'll ever know. Hit that like button. If you don't, then nothing will happen, I guess. But I will appreciate it if you do. Let's see what this poll ended off at. Do you think that Anakin will be in Ahsoka Season 2? 92%. The math is not mathing. 92% of you said yes to 7% saying no. But that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to get on out of here. You guys the absolute best. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified every time I post a video in my pretty face or show up in the recommended feed of yours. And may the force be with you always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. We really do have the best Star Wars community in the world right here. Don't we? Don't we? I hope you have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.